linking in with occupational health, linking in with the welfare officer, linking in with supervisors at work, it was initially agreed that I would go back on a phased return, but it was all done completely under my terms, which was fantastic. You know, when do you want to come into work? What hours do you want to work? What can we do to help you? So what I did was I went back to work, and it was only a Monday, Wednesday and Friday morning, 3 hours a day, just to get back into the working environment, to be in amongst people, to be seeing what's going on.
And they gave me time off to go to counselling. I got to be able to leave early to go to the employee counselling in Glasgow. And if I needed to go to the doctors or phone the doctors or whatever, they were really understanding and really flexible with me, which was a big plus, really helped.
And it was just a question of rebuilding my confidence that I could, and to a certain extent, and quite justifiably, I think, rebuilding my team's confidence, my manager's confidence that they could take the stabilisers off.
We had an initial meeting when I was coming back to work to sit and chat about what I practically was able to do, what I felt I was able to do, because the nature of the work we're doing, you're sharing a lot of your lived experience, which can be quite draining. So I was able to discuss, well, this is and this was a regular communication we had, by text, by email. This week I feel I could manage this week, and that slowly built me back up to, well, not my old self, but back up to doing all the tasks that I'd done previously before I went off.
Partly I've found that actually being open about it has been tremendously helpful, because if I am having a bad spell, my team are aware, my boss is aware what my issue is. And that means that I can be quite open and say, I'm struggling at the moment, or, you know, things. Obviously also modern technology helps. So I do have the facility to work from home. I have to travel quite a lot. I'm in London quite a lot. I can be overseas. But having the technology means that I can be working from home on a day if I just need to, or I can change my hours if that's appropriate. Though I don't find that particularly for me personally works very well. I'm better with structure, and even if I don't have a lot of structure in my actual day-to-day, I find I'm better in the office than I am working from home.
I work from home a lot as well. I manage my own workload. That has been really beneficial. And our boss was concerned that that may not be useful, but I find that hugely beneficial, that I can manage my time, what I'm doing, myself, run about my life and all the stresses that go with having 3 kids, and because I love my job. So that flexibility, that's helpful as well.
And over the first 6 months of going back to work, my hours gradually increased, and I managed to get a couple of jobs as well that made me feel a bit valued and stuff like that, just to get back in the environment. So by the end of the sort of 6 month period, I was back up to working pretty much full-time hours.
It genuinely felt like a really good balance between being quite tightly managed, because there was a point effectively where we put me on to a daily report of, well, what did you think you were going to deliver today, and where are you up to, and what are you going to be doing tomorrow, and where have you got to, which for somebody at my level was pretty unusual, but it never at any point felt anything other than a grown-up decision between 2 adults, designed to help me be effective and designed to help her be effective, because she'd got several senior managers to manage and several big teams with some big deliverables, and having somebody at my level effectively out of the game wasn't helpful to anybody, and particularly if she let that fester within the office. So by tackling it quite firmly but in a very, very caring and open way, and treating it as almost a shared problem that we need to solve, but that was quite clearly my responsibility and me to lead on, worked for me.
We have used in the past when dealing with an individual who has returned to work as a result of mental health illness, a long-term absence. Basically, we encourage them to have a discussion with their manager and basically develop a language that they can use with the manager to let them understand how they're feeling at that time. Most of them tend to use a numerical scale, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, based on how they're feeling that day, and it lets the manager understand what level of performance they can expect that day. So if we give, for example, if they're 1 to 5, it says the manager might say, well, today's not a great day for you, can you do A, B and C, and give them the flexibility to work from home. So that will take the commute out of the journey, any worries associated with that, and actually benefit the manager, because they will be able to deliver. So it was a relatively good piece of work during that time.
Of course, if I was having a bad day, then my hypothesis was immediately they thought I was useless. and that I'd never be able to cope and I was going to carry this around my neck forever. And I dealt with that personally by getting a couple of wins, doing a couple of relatively smallish tasks that were within my capability that I felt I could do. Not everybody responds to sporting analogies, but if you think about a top sports person, if they go back onto the football pitch after a long illness or a leg break, they don't go on and play 90 minutes against the top team in the world. They go on for 5 minutes, they go on for 10 minutes, they play with the reserves, they get back match fit before they do those things. And it was the same thing. It was go back in, work out what's different, work out what's the same, work out how you need to adjust your working styles, work out what you were enjoying and what you weren't, get some deliverables delivered, and gradually build up.
I think really from the point of view of the employee, you have to be determined, you have to make your own mind up what you can cope with and what you feel you want to do. You mustn't be fobbed off with something that suits the management but not you. If it's making reasonable adjustments and you can see that that is the case, you've got to be aware of what might be the ulterior motives. If you're aware of that and you think they are generally making some adjustments, then certainly that's helpful.
Occasionally I get somebody just turning up at my door, just completely not coping, floods of tears, so we get that as well. And in those instances, my advice to them is always, once they feel a little better and calm down, that we write to their manager, because unless their manager knows there's an issue, they can't make the adjustments, because my job is to advise the manager. I don't tell them what to do, I advise them. This would help the person.